Actually, I like recording in this room. And it's got a great atmosphere. I've got all the, you know, digital workstations, computer, mixing boards, and the room is really quiet. It's got a lot of foam on the wall, so it's a nice dead room. If I need to do some stuff in here where I required some quiet and a nice atmosphere to work in, this is where I work right here. It's the heart of ghetto recording. A lot of this equipment is older equipment, like these digital workstations. I've got two of them. They're both Yamahas. Yamaha's workstations were they were really incredible. They had extremely high quality. The mastering capabilities of both of these machines, even though this other one doesn't have the mixing capabilities of this one, it just unbelievable clarity in the recordings. And so, even though, and these only record they record at 16 and 24 bit. That's how old they are. But since the end result on a CD is always 16 bit, it's funny. It seems to me, and I mean, a lot of people have agree with me on this. It seems to me that the ones that were lower bits, the clarity, they're clearer. The recordings are clearer, and it's just something like I have people come back and record here because there's a sound that we've gotten out of these particular workstations that nobody else has been able to duplicate. And even though we have the capabilities on the computer for all the various different programs that are available, the ones that are really popular, we have that ability here. I mean, I use Adobe Premiere Pro for our video and audio, but when I really want to get a really clear, beautiful mastered recording, I will use these devices here. And it's kind of fun because they've got the faders, and these are all automatic. They move on their own once you program them in on your mixing. So it's kind of a really interesting place to work. It's not a very large area, but I'm able to accomplish a whole lot of various different things that a lot of people have larger space. You really don't need it anymore. I didn't even need it back then. This recorder here has 24 tracks before you had to start bouncing. You can't keep adding tracks like you can on the computer, but for the most part, anybody came in here, 24 tracks was more than enough. I very rarely ever did 24. I'd almost have to want to, because most of the time the bands didn't have 24 people. I mean, when you take even if you have 5 members and they all did vocals, and you only need 10 tracks there. So it was overkill just for most bands. And since we catered to what we did, we tried to help people who couldn't afford to go to a high-priced studio, that they could just come to the ghetto. That's kind of how it got its name. We called it ghetto recording because first, the area that we live in is a very older part of town, and it has looks like a ghetto. It's worn down. Everybody's houses some of them are over 100 years old. So we kind of jokingly called it the ghetto, and then ended up being called, as we built the place, or I should say, as it developed itself, we started jokingly called it ghetto recording, and then of course that name stuck. And then I started doing some DJ. I had a show up at the local college called the Musician Spotlight, and what I did is I just played music, original tunes by local artists. That's all I played. If you had to be original, and you had to be a local artist, and that gave the local artists a place where they could have their stuff heard. And when the radio station didn't have a broad, large broadcasting area, it was very limited. But then with the computers, they were able to put the shows online so people could listen on their computers anywhere they wanted in the world, for that matter. So it worked out pretty good, and we did that for a while, and that's where I got the name Ghetto Man, is because it's the ghetto. I mean, it's just a handle, and it stuck with me, and I like it.